Hello there, you're now watching TVS News at 5. I'm Hari Zainuddin, and let's begin with our top stories for today. The Sarawak Cabinet and Assistant Minister Inauguration created its own history when it was held virtually before the Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Pehin Sri Haji Abdul Taib Mahmud at the State Legislative Assembly on Tuesday night. Each minister read out the oaths of office during the ceremony, which was held hybrid, and it started at 9 p.m. Also present to witness the hybrid ceremony were Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg and his wife Datuk Amar Jumaani Tun Tuanku Bujang. Abang Johari himself was inaugurated on December 18 of last year.
First to be sworn in were Deputy Chief Ministers Datuk Amar Douglas Ugah Embas, Datuk Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan and Datuk Sri Dr. Sim Kuan. Fourth to be sworn in was Datuk Hajah Fatimah Abdullah, Minister of Welfare, Community Wellbeing, Women, Family and Childhood Development. The other new faces who were sworn in as full-fledged ministers included Datuk Julahi Narawi as Minister of Utility and Telecommunication, Datuk John Sikitayai as Minister in the Chief Minister's Department, and Datuk Roland Sagahwi as Minister for Education, Innovation and Talent Development. The cabinet lineup was announced by Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg last Thursday, December 30, 2021. The new cabinet comprises 10 ministers and 26 assistant ministers, which is 8 more than the previous cabinet formed in 2019.
Now, the governance of inclusive growth requires a whole-of-government approach that aligns vision, inclusives, and delivering mechanisms. Hence, inclusive approach are essential for shaping policies that are closer to society's needs. Sarawak newly appointed Deputy Chief Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Sim Kuan said his appointment is proof that the political condition in Sarawak is not only stable, but is also inclusive and that no community is left behind. Sim added that with his appointment, he will continue his efforts to implement various development efforts in Sarawak to ensure that the 2030 post-COVID development strategy goals can be achieved.
First, I would like to thank CN Abanjo for appointing me as one of the chief ministers. It shows that in Sarawak we are very inclusive. We got the Dayak, we got the Malay, and we got the Chinese. And Sarawak moving ahead, you know that we are going to have post-COVID development plan 2030, and in which we are going to raise the income of everybody per household from less than 5,000 to 15,000. So there's a lot of work to do because everybody must work together for us to achieve that. The other thing is the next 10 years under post-COVID development plan is extremely exciting because it will lead to the best of Sarawak, because not only on long-standing infrastructure that we haven't been doing, but I mean it also develop in the new area like digital economies and so on, and then the new talents that we need to carry.
He added that among the development plans that he will focus on is the construction of a cancer treatment center to benefit cancer patients in the state.
With the financial independence that Sarawak has, we have our own money now, and such as the cancer hospital. I mean the hospital should be funded by Ministry of Health, but because CN Abanjoti said that we will do the funding first, so that our people don't suffer, and then the KL can pay us later. So these are the type of things that we will do for people in Sarawak, and if we stay united, we stay together, I think that the best of Sarawak is coming, and then so everyone can be very proud to be a Sarawakian.
The appointment saw Dr. Sim following his father's footsteps, who is a former Deputy Chief Minister, the late Tan Sri Dato' Amar Sim Kan Hang, who was also SUPP President.
Efforts to bridge the gap of development between urban and rural areas pose a huge challenge for the government. Newly appointed Assistant Minister for Youth, Sport and Entrepreneur Development, Dato' Gerald Ravelbu said his ministry will ensure that every walk of life in Sarawak, regardless of where they are from, will enjoy the same facilities, especially pertaining to the youth development agenda.
Mereka akan dapat menikmati apa-apa yang kita dapat dari segi digital dan sebagainya. Karena kalau tidak ada infrastruktur yang seperti ini susah untuk mereka untuk mencapai yang lebih lagi dari segi dari segi mereka yang di bandar dan luar bandar. Kita tak mahu melihat anak-anak kita masih menaiki gunung ataupun bukit untuk mereka mendapatkan line internet dan sebagainya. Tapi ini satu cabaran dan kita terpaksa bukan saja dari segi kementerian, kita juga mesti bekerjasama dengan Kementerian Utility dan Telekomunikasi untuk merangkumi semualah. Ini satu cabaran yang besar.
Similarly, road safety will be the chief cost for Assistant Road Minister Datuk Henry Harry Jinep. This, he said, is important to prevent untoward accidents which would claim another innocent life.
Yang pertama sekali tentulah keselamatan jalan raya dari Bau ke Batu Kitang. Jalan yang terlalu teruk akibat jalan yang tidak baik dan banyak kemalangan telah berlaku di situ. Kita akan mencari cara yang lebih baik macam mana keselamatan pengguna jalan raya dapat dipertingkatkan. Itu usaha pertamalah ya, keselamatan jalan raya itu penting. Okay?
When asked about his team readiness for the possible flood situation, he said the disaster task team has been mobilized since last month.
Sebelum pilihan raya sudah kita sediakan untuk menghadapi jika berlakunya banjir di kawasan. Ya, kita memang sudah ada task force yang disediakan dengan perahu dan sebagainya, dengan engine boat dan persediaan di setiap kawasan yang sering dilanda banjir. Kita mempunyai task force yang sudah bersedia.
Thank you for staying with me. Now on to the next updates. An uninvited 8-foot-long semi-aquatic reptile had strayed into a drain in the village during the high tide, shocked residents of Kampung Sepau Betong. The crocodile has since been handed over to the Sarawak Forestry Corporation for further action. Ropes were used to pull the crocodile out by a team of People's Volunteer Corps personnel and villagers prior to the arrival of the Bomba personnel. Once secured and blindfolded, the reptile was loaded onto the back of a pickup truck for transport to the Betong fire station. Now, as both countries mark the 40th anniversary of the Look East policy, LEP, this year, Japan will work to further strengthen its relations with Malaysia. Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission of Japan Embassy in Malaysia, Araki Kaname, said throughout this year, Japan will work together with Malaysian friends to celebrate the achievements within the past 40 years.
In addition, Kaname said focus will also be given on strengthening the bilateral ties in the future. Malaysia, under the then fourth Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, introduced the LEP in February of 1982, with the objective of emulating exemplary Japanese work culture as well as technology expertise in developing the country. Araki said under the policy, some 26,000 Malaysians had gone to Japan for their studies and training in the past 40 years. And upon their return to Malaysia, they have been playing an indispensable role in various fields as a bridge between the two countries.
Adoption in 1982, about 26,000 Malaysians have studied or trained in Japan under the policy. They have been playing important roles in the bilateral relations between the two countries.
On to some global updates. Kazakh police used stun grenades as hundreds of protesters tried to storm the mayor's office in the country's biggest city, Almaty, in the early hours of Wednesday, January 5th. The protests began in Kazakhstan's oil town of Zanauzan on 2nd January 2022 after a sudden sharp increase of gas prices, in which, according to the Kazakh government, was due to high demand and price fixing.
Hundreds of protesters were removed by the police from the city's main square using tear gas and stun grenades. Series of explosions can be heard in the vicinity of the city's main square, where the mayor's office is located. Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has declared a 2-week state of emergency in the Central Asian nation's biggest city, Almaty, and in the western Mangistau province, both of which have become scenes of mass protest. Protests erupted in several Kazakh cities and towns after the authorities lifted price caps on liquefied petroleum gas, a popular car fuel, allowing prices to surge.
A Singaporean father finds himself in deep debt of 20,000 Singaporean dollars after his 17-year-old daughter spent the said amount on a popular game, Gangshin Impact. Lim Cheng Mong discovered the incident when he was notified by the bank that issued his credit card, which was linked to his daughter's Grab account.
Lim's credit card was linked mainly to cover his daughter's transportation expenses. Fortunately, half of the amount was returned to him by the bank as a sign of goodwill. For some background, Gangshin Impact is an open-world concept game with a gacha system that allows players to purchase in-game currency to collect new weapons and characters. The game's developer, MiHoYo, introduces new weapons and characters in every update of the game, where many would be spending their wealth in order to have their go on many of these heroes. The company have also confirmed that they made $2.1 billion from Google Play and the Apple App Store. This, however, excludes revenue from their PC, PlayStation, and the third-party Android storefronts.
And that will be all the time that we have for the 5 p.m. news today. Be sure to tune in to TVS 9line at 11:30 p.m. tonight for some more updates on the current affairs. Once again, I'm Hari Zainuddin. It's been a pleasure.